Evening, everyone. Evening, lads, lassies. How are we all doing? Sunday evening. One sec. Sunday evening. How are we all doing? Let me know how it sounds, by the way, anyone as well in the chat. If you could, we'll let it just build up because I just had to move pretty much all my equipment up here. So I want to just make sure that it sounds okay. There's no echo or anything like that in the background. Looks all right on my end, but I just want to be sure. So we get a few people in here. Perfect. So we had a few people in and we talk about the fights last night. I suppose I have to give my 2 cents on Zelfa Barrett versus Kiko Martinez, right? Now, I'm going to be frank. I didn't see the whole of that fight in its entirety. For some reason, North County Dublin, my area in North Dublin decided that, electricity was something that we didn't need for about 45 minutes. So I only got as far as I think the 7th round. And then it just kind of went. Everything went. But from what I saw, man, Kiko Martinez was Zelfa Barrett, man. He is. Man, that guy. It was. Zelfa Barrett won the first round, but Kiko Martinez was having so much success in that fight. Barrett's chin. Gotta ask the question about his chin. Kiko Martinez, decent, not feather fisted, but he's been hurt a few times now in his career. I mean, do you remember Eric Donovan buzzed him a little bit in their fight? Eric Donovan, I'll tell you this now, right? I've never sparred him, but I've seen him spar. I've been in the same gym with him a few times. He is not a puncher. Not in the least. So if he's buzzing Zelfa Barrett, Barrett can't be, Barrett can't be. There's not much there. Yo, shout out to Dan. Thanks for the £2, mate. Appreciate that. Lara versus Navarrete. Imagine that. Man, that'd be a war. That would be fucking unreal. Navarrete did say that Lara's power is real. I think they spar. Can you imagine that? Man, that would be fun. That'd be a fun fight because Navarrete can punch as well. Navarrete throws a hell of a lot of shots, man. That'd be a fun fight. Lara surprised us. He surprised the shit out of me. I wonder, because I only glanced at his box rec briefly. Lara. I wonder how many knockout wins does he actually have? Because I only looked at his box rec briefly. I didn't even look. Mauricio, Lara. How many knockout wins does he actually have? Because they were all making it out. Yeah, he's 15 knockouts in the 22 fight, the 22 wins. But fuck, man. Yeah, he beat the living crap out of Josh Warrington. I mean, Warrington from that first bell did not look right at all. He did not look himself. He looked all over the place in there. It wasn't just the inactivity. Can't be just the inactivity that rocked him. It has to be something more than that. Because, you're 16 months out of the ring. Yeah, it's not ideal, but there has to have been more to him than just that. I can't just think it was just that. But Lara, fuck me, man. He was good. Like, his inside game. If anyone knows how his inside game was good, how he was just, whenever he would get close to Warrington, the uppercut he was throwing, the body work he was doing, and the counter hooks were just... Warrington's defense against guys like Lee Selby. Well, look, Lee Selby really can't punch. People say Josh Warrington can't punch. Well, I think he's still a harder puncher pound than Lee Selby. Lee Selby can't crack an egg. All Lee Selby ever does is just jab at long range. Whenever it gets up close, Lee Selby's not the greatest. So that's all Warrington did, was that he would just kind of slip the jab, throw a couple of shots and bunches. Lee Selby, Lee Selby, they say slick. He's slick to an extent, but when it got up close with Josh Warrington, I mean, he was getting his head bounced around in there. So Lee Selby, I don't know. But Warrington can get away with it against guys like that. What Darren said here, Warrington didn't like the power. Has he ever even been hit with that kind of power before? Frampton's not feather-fisted, but he's not a massive puncher. So Frampton's power is respectable. So he would have felt power from Carl Frampton. But Carl Frampton, as I said, he's not a massive, devastating puncher. He was a bigger puncher at 122. At 126, not really. So Frampton is okay. In terms of anyone else he's fought, I mean, he's not really fought any punchers. I mean, Kiko Martinez, his power is not terrible, but I don't think he's fought any genuine power punchers, like real concussive, snap your head back punchers until he fought Lara. No. So, Yeah, I'd say it was shot. It looked to me, right, because he looked rusty in the first round, but the minute them hooks from Lara started going in, I thought that it looked to me like Warrington was just like, oh shit, what have I done here? What have I got myself into? Because it's like you could tell Warrington was the better guy. Because before he got tagged in that fourth round, he was winning them rounds, and he was smashing Lara up a bit. Like if it's only the fact that Warrington really can't punch, but it was like Warrington was just like, right, I can't put a dent in this guy, but he can put a dent in me. It's like Warrington knew that, and that was the issue he was going to have. It was a good fight, but Jesus, it was damaging for him because I'm telling you now, right? Warrington can come back from that. I think he can if he like. There's a few things he'll need to do. He'll probably have to move up in weight, maybe, but he took beatings in there. I mean, did you see him walking back to the changing rooms? Because I kind of stopped before the interviews, done my post fight, then I looked at him walking back to the changing rooms. Like he was missing, like he was walking into, not walking full blown into them, but he was like kind of bumping into walls and everything. Like he literally didn't know where he was walking back to the changing rooms. So man, that fight's going to take a lot out of him. He's going to be probably even more inactive because he'll need a good bit of time. He'll need a good bit of time to recover from that. A seriously good bit of time to recover from that. Mr. MI_MI says, happy Sunday, G-Man, to you and the crew. Yeah, big up to the Sunday crew. I haven't missed a Sunday live stream in a while. You think Warrington's time was up with his dad? You see, Sean O'Hagan is a good coach. I think Sean O'Hagan, he doesn't get enough credit. He is a good coach. That's what I will say about Sean O'Hagan. He is a good coach. Do I think he should have pulled Josh Warrington out? I mean, like in hindsight, yes. To me, though, I was kind of looking. You see, this is how bad the British Boxing Board of Control can be sometimes. When Josh Warrington came and he survived that fifth round, I was thinking to myself, if Warrington can even nick these rounds, can even nick a handful of rounds, he'll probably still get the decision. That's just how bad the British Boxing Board of Control are these days for how they score fights. That I actually thought to myself, if Warrington can survive into the late rounds, get this to go the distance, he actually probably could get a decision. Not whether he deserves it or not, because the board, I'd love to see what the scorecards for that fight look like. I don't think anyone's published them, but I'd love to see what the scorecards for that fight were like going into that ninth round. Who was ahead? I'd love to see what they were looking like going into that ninth round. What the scorecard said, who was ahead, and what was going on. But Sean O'Hagan is a good trainer. He is, but Warrington, I mean, Jesus, if that was my fighter, I probably would have pulled him out after that fourth. He was done. He was finished. I mean, I'm surprised he got through the fifth round. I'm surprised Howard Foster let that fight carry on. Lara fought 4 times in 2020. That's crazy, all things considered. Yeah, big up to Halim. It was Ben Foster again. Yeah, Foster is... Do you know what, right? Howard Foster's one of those referees. I always moan when I see his name because he's known for stopping fights way, way, way too early. Like literally the minute a fighter goes down, if they get back up and they're buzzed, he's jumping in there straight away, stopping the fight. Him and Ian John Lewis, they're 2 of my least favorite referees in the UK because they're both victims of doing the same thing. Like Ian John Lewis has stopped fights really, really, really early, like crazy early in the past. And then he's let fights like Vitaly Klitschko versus Briggs go on way too long. So Howard Foster and Ian John Lewis, I mean, Jesus Christ, those 2 guys... For referees, I missed it lows in the chat, so I'll go back and catch this. This might be happening to Fury if he does. See, that's the first thing I thought of. And I've always been thinking, see, that's one thing, mate, I've always been thinking about Tyson Fury versus AJ. If this fight happens in June, how is that inactivity going to cope for Tyson Fury? Like, how sharp is he going to be? Because he's not had the ring time. Look, AJ had the Pulev fight. That's good enough. Like, that's... at least he's in there getting some ring time, all right? Fury's not had anyone. He could have had that December 5th date, which I think would have benefited him, even if he fought Kabayel or someone like that. Even if they weren't stylistically similar to AJ, at least having that bit of time in the ring, albeit with no fans, at least it would give you something. But that has me, because you're talking, this was Warrington after 16 months out of the ring. Different style of Tyson Fury, yes. But Fury, say he fights AJ in June. Let's just say, for argument's sake, say he fights him in June. He'd be out of the ring a year this day next week. And then June is in what, 4 months? Yeah, be about 16 months out of the ring for Tyson Fury. So you wonder, would the same thing happen to him? Maybe not to the same extent, but you got to wonder about inactivity. Yo, big up to Rich, big up hashtag GMaz Rocks, big up to you, man. Seeing how Lara fought made me think there's hope for Lovejoy. No. Whoa. Let's not get ahead of ourselves here. Let's not get ahead of ourselves, right? Lara was definitely better than me and a lot of others gave credit for. That's for damn sure. But I've seen snippets of Lovejoy. There ain't no hope for him, man. There ain't no hope for him. I've seen snippets of him. There's no hope for that guy. That guy is not going to come over to the UK, go in there with a prospect and surprise anybody. I mean, considering Stavern, I think he would have absolutely lit Lovejoy up like a Christmas tree if they had fought. There's no hope for that Christopher Lovejoy, right? There ain't no hope, right? I think that Lara was, a diamond in the rough. He had 2 losses, but hey, look, a lot of good guys have losses early on. Tevin Farmer had loads of losses. Martinez has losses. Navarrete has a loss. But yeah, Lovejoy, good luck, man. He ain't surprising no one. I'll big up to Kieran. We need to put more respect on Lara's name. He was game and more than a match with Josh Warrington. Josh was ring rusty and may have not done the weight properly, but Lara was very good. I mean, what can you say about the guy, man? I mean, him, like Dan said it in the chat there. Where was Dan's comment? Lara versus Navarrete. I mean, you want to get that fight made. Because Eddie Hearn says there's a rematch for Lara. But, man, that fight is entertaining. Could you imagine the punches being thrown? That would be... And both guys seem to have decent whiskers, Navarrete seems to have a decent chin. Lara, he took those shots from Warrington, no problem. But Warrington's not a big puncher, to be fair. But imagine that. That would be a hell of it, man. That'd be a serious fight. Both guys would go in there all guns blazing. Golden Mike 30, Denmark watching. Big up, man. Big up to Darren. George C. Sounds good to me. Hashtag Gmail. Yeah, I was wondering because I have to move it all up, to move a load of things up to the bedroom. Can't be a Mexican war. No, man. Mexican wars. Although, man, let's think of it like this. Look at Zepeda versus Baranchek. I mean, where Zepeda's Mexican, isn't he? And Baranchek is Belarus. I mean, that was a better war than you'd see, mate. Complacency from Warrington or just inactivity, bad night. I think it's a mixture of everything, to be honest with you, mate. I think, you have to imagine this was someone cherry-picked, This was someone just like a matchmaker going through box rec and being like, yeah, we might get lucky here. And at the end of the day, right, Lara didn't look good in his, open workout. To be fair, loads of fighters haven't looked good in open workouts. Doesn't mean that come fight night they're going to be. I've seen fighters look amazing in open workouts in the gym. You get them on fight night, even if there's a small crowd, and they're just half of themselves. So I always take the trainer with a pinch of salt. Different if you're getting dropped in sparring and stuff like that. Then I'd be like, oh shit, this isn't good. But I think it's a bit of everything. I think that bit of complacency from Warrington, inactivity didn't help, and Lara's power put Josh Warrington in his place very early on. I think he felt those shots and he was like, I don't think it's in Josh Warrington's MO to be careful because he's still bored in, and that's how he was still getting caught. I mean, he was not able to adjust to the left hooks that Lara was throwing at him. In the 9th round, he was still taking those left hooks. It was just oh my God, are you at I don't know. It was just he couldn't adjust because I'm looking at Warrington when he's getting hit. And big up to Ra, big up G-Man, hashtag G-Man's Rocks. Thank you, mate. I'm looking at Warrington, and the 8th round, I remember he landed a left hook on Lara, and it was like Lara just kind of went, but and just waved it off, just shook it off. Warrington's his left hand, which he used for parrying the hook, comes down, and another left hook lands from Lara. So he just couldn't adjust to anything like that, which was, it was what it was. I don't know if Warrington should take that rematch. I really don't. Eddie Hearn says they have a rematch clause. I mean, again, that fight should have been stopped way earlier. I mean, and it's not just the knockdowns. Think of the headshots Warrington took before going down as well. Before the first knockdown and after. So many headshots, man. that's going to take a lot out of him. I just look at that image of him walking back to the changing room and him just barely able to, like, him kind of bumping into walls and stuff. It was just like, that ain't good. Good evening from the judge. Big up the judge, Durham. Isn't shocked that Space Raiders lost. Isn't even shocked. Big up the Halim. Lara couldn't miss with those left hooks. And, that to me, I rate Sean O'Hagan as a trainer. He is very good. But when something is consistently being thrown at you, i.e. that left hook, it's really not good when you're still not able to adjust to it late on. Now, I know Warrington's legs are pretty much gone after the 4th round, but still, it will just be, it's just, it's not good. Look at, I seen that. And that's one thing I was noticing as well, was how bad Warrington's, or how bad Lara's eye was. It was crazy. But just the shots didn't seem to have an effect. Weight, crowds, believing in his own hype, not to mention Lara's power. You see, here's the thing, right? I do think Warrington is a good fighter. Oh, after skipping a load of chats there. I do think Warrington is a good fighter, all right? I do think he's a great fighter, right? But I think that, I think it was just a variety of things that went wrong in this fight for me. Just a variety. And I definitely think that, well, as this says here, can Kanzi, no way now. I think that was the plan. And you know what as well? I think that's a good question what Dean's just said there in the chat, right? It's a bit like, to a lesser extent, does anyone remember when Dylan White lost to Povetkin? Of course we remember. I say, does anyone remember? Of course we do. But I'm sure there was talk of that pay-per-view because Eddie Hearn was hinting at that in, the kind of background prior to this, that there'd be a pay-per-view on in April. I wonder if that was what he was planning. And I'm thinking, was Josh Warrington just so fixated on, okay, we get this pay-per-view in, we get this fight in, and then we move on to, Kanzu in, April, May. A bit like with Dylan White, Dylan White just saying before the Povetkin loss, we get this, we talk about, 2021 Fury, I want the WBC. A bit like that he just kind of took his eye off what's in front of him and focused on what's down the road, which he definitely shouldn't be doing. Big up to Kira. Big up to Kira. Forget that happened there. Just forget that happened. Think it should have been stopped. Fuck's sake. Oh, shit. Think it should have been stopped before it was, personally. Yeah. I mean, Howard Foster, of all referees, is normally the guy you say, you stopped that a bit early, Howard, and he let that fight go on. It's crazy that the Sky team even alluded to the fact that, like, if that was Lara in that situation and he was badly buzzed at the end of the 4th round, he would have ended up getting stopped. Likely they would have stopped that fight. They would have let him go back up, a few shots go in, and that would have been the end of that. Who wins out of Tom Schwartz versus Lovejoy? Definitely Tom Schwartz. Definitely Tom Schwartz every day of the week. Jesus, Tom Schwartz ain't great, but damn. I mean, as someone said earlier in the chat, is there hope for Lovejoy based on Lara? No, because Lara definitely has a bit of talent there. Maybe he doesn't look great in workouts, but Lovejoy, I mean, Jesus, people. God almighty, yeah. Oh, Jesus Christ. Christopher Lovejoy. Jesus Christ. Had the judge in the Kiko Martinez Barrett fight judged the Warrington fight, he would have won. They haven't published the scorecards, have they, for that fight? Because I'm actually really curious just to see what the scorecards read for that fight. Because did they? What the fuck is this? One sec. No, they didn't. There's no scorecards currently for the Warrington fight. I'd love to know what the scorecards were going into that round, going into the 9th round. Because definitely you could give Warrington the first three rounds. But after that, he had some success. I'd love to know what the scorecards were going into that. I'd love to know what the scorecards were. Marcus McDonald always annoys me. He gets too involved. It's like he enjoys being in control. Which fight was Marcus McDonald refereeing? Because I know it was Howard Foster who done the it was Howard Foster done the main event. So I wonder which one it was Marcus McDonald refereeing in. Warrington didn't hit hard enough. Yeah, Warrington's feather fisted as hell. You know, some people say he hits harder than people perceive him to be. That may be the case, but Jesus, if Warrington hits harder than his record suggests, it's not much harder, if you know what I mean. Because definitely, he if put it like this, when Warrington opened up and was having success early on what's the guy's name, Lara, if he had any way decent power, those shots would have, they were having an effect. They were mashing his eye up, but not enough. Yeah, he took a beat, and he did, Timmy. Big up to Timmy Nealon, by the way. Big up to you, man. Yeah, we got 53 in the chat. If you could, lads, just smash the like button. I'm only going to ask for it once or twice in this stream. Maybe we've been overrating UK fighters due to the phenomenal power we have. Maybe there are loads of unheralded Mexicans. Put it like this, right? Emmanuel Navarrete. He was brought in as the opponent for Isaac Dogbe, right? He was brought in as the opponent for Isaac Dogbe, what, 2.5 years ago? And look at Navarrete now. People said when he was at 122, I don't know who would have beaten him. And now he's at 126. And he was brought in as the opponent because he had one loss. He'd fought nobody. And boom. Yo, Johnny, what's up, Johnny? Big up. Hey, G-Man, do you think you could have a wrench possible? Do you think I could have a wrench? Yeah, of course you can. 2 secs. I'll get you one now. There are a couple of fake Johnny accounts running. Yeah, I'll do it now in 2 secs, Johnny boy. Where are we? Johnny boy. Boom. Let me know if that worked. I think it should. Yeah, I remember there was a few fake G-Man accounts a few months ago, and like yours and Dell's, I think they were even in beach chat. I don't know who the hell has that much time on their hands to do those fake accounts, but Jesus Christ. It obviously shows them doing something right. Howard Foster was heavily criticized. Yeah, I remember that was him. I mean, he stopped that fight when Froch hadn't been down, or when Groves hadn't been down. Yeah, he was buzzed a bit, but he hadn't been down. Josh Warrington was down, legs were all over the shop, and he still didn't stop the fight. I mean, Jesus, people. Oh, broken nose boxing, big up. I haven't clicked on your comment yet. Where the hell is it? I just seen it there. Yep. Evening, ladies, but realistically, most gents. I think we've got one lady in the building. I think the rest are all gents. I think that's literally it. What a night of boxing. Yeah, I was not looking forward to this card at all. I thought Lee Wood actually would be a decent fight, to be fair, but I honestly thought that Martinez would just kind of fiddle his way to a 12-round loss, and it wouldn't be too entertaining. That's genuinely what I thought. I always thought it would go the distance, but I didn't think it would. I didn't think it would be that entertaining and that close, to be honest. I thought Martinez would just survive. In terms of the main event, I mean, Jesus, this was a good card. It was a fun card to watch, definitely. Lara was a terrible stylistic match for Warrington. Warrington leaves himself open. Yep. And as someone said earlier, who's a real big puncher that Warrington's faced before? Because Lara, I think it's fair to assume he is a genuine puncher. But who has Warrington faced that really you could honestly say is a big puncher? You know, Frampton. Frampton's not feather fisted, but he's definitely not, a devastating one-punch puncher. No way. He's definitely not, the biggest puncher he was never the biggest puncher even at featherweight or super bantam. Big up to Dan. I think Warrington got beat in his own game. He normally pressures the guys, don't know how to handle it. You see, I think Warrington overwhelms them more so as well. Even though he's not the biggest puncher, he overwhelms the guys. Like, look at Frampton. Frampton was just overwhelmed when he fought Warrington. He really, really was. He was just absolutely overwhelmed in that fight. I think that when he met someone who could counter punch really well and who had very good punching power, as Lara did, it exposed. I think that he'll always have problems with Lara. I think that even if he takes the rematch, which I don't know if he should, to be honest with you, he's going to have problems. He's going to have massive, massive, massive problems with Lara, irrespective, I believe, anyway. And as I said, I'd love to see what the scorecards were like. I really would love to see what the scorecards were for that fight going into the 9th round. because I really want to know. Because the board were having a nightmare with dodgy scorecards last night, and I really want to know. Yo, big up to Chris Andre. Man, if any of you haven't, Chris Andre has one of the best channels on YouTube. I've said this once, I'll say it again. If Chris Andre is talking about how to make a sandwich, I would gladly listen to his breakdowns. Man, bet one of the best channels on YouTube. Easily. Great content. Subscribe if you haven't. Leave this chat. Go and subscribe to his channel. One of the best on YouTube. Stylistically, Lara is all wrong for Josh. Lara punches with an opponent. Yep, true that. His inside game is actually quite good as well. He's heavy-handed, durable, and likes it in the line of fire. Josh wants to get in the pocket and fire, all wrong. Yeah, I think stylistically he is just, yes, Johnny has I've seen Johnny there, by the way. He has a wrench next to his name. Big up, Johnny. But yeah, no, I think stylistically, Lara just, no. And I think that even if we have a Warrington who comes back in, and like, let's say right, Warrington, people were saying it was the inactivity. Lads, he's going to need it. After that fight, I think he hurt his shoulder. I think he's got something wrong with his jaw, as well as the knockout. He's going to need a lot. He's going to need a while before he's back in the ring. So this isn't going to be like a quick turnaround. This isn't going to be like Dylan White purported to fight Povetkin 3 months later. This guy's going to need 6 months to maybe 9 months. So he's going to be out of the ring for a while. He is definitely going to be out of the ring for a while. Anytime, man, anytime. Tuna mayo, thanks for the kind words. Yeah, I'll stick with tuna, but no mayo. But appreciate anytime, bro, anytime. But yeah, Chris Andre, easily one of the best. I've been meaning to do an updated list. And I actually think I put you in my original list of top YouTube channels when I done it back in September. But I've been meaning to do an updated list. I just can never get around to having the time to do it, to be honest with you. Yeah, I think Frampton said Warrington punches harder than expected. Do you think that was Frampton underestimating him or his punch resistance? I think it was a bit of both. I think Frampton's always had a bit of questionable punch resistance, to be honest with you. I do, because do you remember when he fought that, it was Alejandro Gonzalez back in 2015? He's actually dead now, RIP. Alejandro Gonzalez was, again, similar actually, a very unheralded Mexican. He had Frampton down twice in the first round. We said he hit deceivingly hard. I think that maybe Frampton's chin is not as good as people make it out to be, because who's Frampton fought that's a massive puncher? Scott Quigg, a decent puncher at domestic level, but never really tagged Frampton. Santa Cruz, no. I've never been convinced about Frampton's chin. That's one thing about Frampton I've always felt. I've never really been 100% convinced that Frampton's got the whiskers. So definitely with Frampton, I'd say his punch resistance played a part in Warrington being able to buzz him. But I do think, look, I thought Frampton would win that fight, to be honest with you. I thought Warrington had a great win over Lee Selby, which is fine, because I picked him to win against Lee Selby. I've never really rated Lee Selby too highly. That is what that is. But against Frampton, I thought, well, Frampton still has a bit of life in him. Frampton can still box. And I thought Frampton would just find a way to get through it. But nope. And Warrington, in some ways, I think Warrington was just riding the quest of a wave. And, look at Frampton. Frampton, stylistically, he is just a boxer. Like, he'll just try and keep it at range. That's one reason why I'm picking Heron to beat Frampton. Frampton will just try and keep it at range. He's not going to pressure Josh Warrington too much. Josh Warrington was the one done all the pressuring against Frampton. So, stylistically, Frampton kind of played into Warrington's strengths a bit. Whereas Lara, countering, hard puncher, I mean, yeah, no way. I think that moving forward, that's going to be he shouldn't take that rematch. He shouldn't take that rematch. What was it someone said there? G-Man versus the entire LDBC. Easy work, lad. Easy work, mate. LDBC. Jesus Christ. Oh, mate. Oh, that was good. Oh, fuck me. How did I have Barrett Kiko? Look, I'll be frank with you. I said it earlier in the chat that I didn't get a chance to watch the full fight because, for whatever reason, in my area, Dublin, the power went for like 45 minutes in my area. So I got as far as the 7th round. I had Kiko ahead in the 7th round. I haven't finished off watching it, but I was able to kind of get some 3G and listen to Mark commentate, because Mark, unrivaled, big up to him, was doing commentary for that fight. Sounded like Martinez got, well, he definitely got the wrong end of a decision. Some people said it was close. They could have gone either way, but I mean, put it like this, right? I had Martinez ahead in the 7th round, and 2 judges gave him 2 rounds. I mean, that's just bollocks. Seriously, that is flipping bollocks. Shout out to Blue Collar Sports TV. Big up to Dell. How are you, man? How are you? Big up to Dell every single time. Man, I've got some good channels in here tonight. I got Chris Andre, Broken Nose Boxing, Blue Collar Sports. I got some good channels. Johnny Boy. Yeah, I got some good channels in the chat, man. I got some good channels in the chat. But Dell, I was listening to a few of Dell's old videos actually yesterday, because it was absolutely dead here in Dublin yesterday. There was nothing going on. I think I was listening to Dell, you know, having a few rants. Having a few rants are always funny. Man, Dell can rant with the best of them. But big up to Blue Collar Sports every single time, man. What does that say? Everyone's a fan of G-Man. Ah, mate. Where do we even start with that? Everyone's a fan of G-Man. That's funny, right? Because I only started, like, it's mad how many, like, people have started reaching out to me now. Like, not in terms of, like, major, like, anyone like that, anyone major, anyone like that. But I only started using Twitter. I've always had an account, but I've only just recently started using it. And the amount of messages I've been getting, like, off people, they've all been good messages, which is good, have been, like, unreal. And actually, yeah, Twitter's actually all right. It's a little bit of fun. I only really use it for news, but it is a little bit of fun. It is a little bit of fun. But yeah, everyone's a fan of your boy. Everyone's a fan of your boy. Be interested to know what you guys thought of, what was your scorecards for Kiko Martinez versus Zelfa Barrett. I thought, like, Martinez was looking great. I was worrying because Barrett, that chin of his is got to be questioned, I think, at this stage. Because he's been rocked a few times. He's been down against Ronnie Clark. He was rocked against Eric Donovan. Eric Donovan's not a puncher. And now, again, he's been, hurt a few times by Kiko Martinez. I reckon that chin's a question mark. You thought it was going to be 118, 111 Kiko when they read it out. Now, one thing I've learned, right, in all my years watching boxing, especially now with, you know, knowing, like, kind of British scorecards as I do, when you hear a wide scorecard, I genuinely, like, just tend to be like, that's for the home fighter. When you know it's a close fight and you hear, like, a ridiculous scorecard, like a 118, I'm just like, that's for the home fighter. That's for the home fighter. I think it was like that when they announced, what was the guy, Lewis Ritson, when he fought Vasquez. When I heard the real wide scorecard, even though it should have been for Martinez, I was just like, that's for Lewis Ritson. And I was right. And it was, because you just start to kind of know. You just kind of know. Is one thing you'll always know. This is what I notice. Whenever they take a long time to tally up the scorecards, you know you're getting some BS. And especially when they take a while to tally the scorecards up, and then there's a wide scorecard, you're always like, that's going to the home fighter. That's going to the home fighter. Because normally with scorecards, if it's a reasonably straightforward UD and it's for one fighter, it's normally quite straightforward. Like, it's normally not long. I know they have to give the scorecards nowadays to, what's the guy's name? David Diamante, the other side of the ring. But even then, when the scorecards are quite straightforward, you tend to know it's like, yep, 1, 2, 3, there we go. And yeah, whenever you hear, like, whenever they take this bit of time, you're just like, yeah, we know what's coming here. We know what's coming here. I missed the chat there. What was it from? Big up to Toby. Salute G-Man and the chat. Hashtag G-Man's rocks. Big up, lads. We got 60 in the chat. If you could, I'm just going to ask once. If you could, smash the like button, please. If you could. If you could. Was thinking Tony Thompson, when Hearn was talking about Warrington rematch, very bad idea. Yeah, like, Warrington against Lara, stylistically, Benjo, I think it's more from a stylistic point of view. Do I think, look, with Pricey when he fought Thompson, that should never happen, because Pricey doesn't have the confidence to go into a rematch against someone who just beat him. All right, that's just a no-go. In terms of this, I think this is more stylistically. I think it's stylistically, this is just going to be a bad idea for Josh Warrington to fight this guy. So I wouldn't. I just get the guy, reassess everything, have a think about what he's going to do next, because he needs a hell of a lot of work. He needs a hell of a lot of time to recover, Josh Warrington. Because as I said, that was a damaging loss, man. That was a real damaging loss. I just dropped. Yeah, that was a real damaging loss, man. It was bad. So on the interview with Dom Ingle about Warrington, he is asked about it and said he didn't watch it. Yeah, right. Then said the knockdown and subsequent knockdowns practically every round. Yeah, you know, what can you do? What can you do? Dominic Ingles Pringles. Dominic Ingle. Watch now. If Josh Warrington goes to Dominic Ingle, he'd be going through guys. Left, right, and center. He'd be going through the division. Wait and you see. Holy shit, I missed Joe. Big up. What's up, Joe? Big up to you. #GMatsRocks. Hope you got all your Valentine's gifts. Warrington certainly got one in the kisser last night. Yeah. Oh, mate. I never, ever do Valentine's gifts. You know, whenever I've been with someone and I've had a chance to, I've never done it. Ever done it. So, and I've never wanted anything either. So whenever I've been seeing someone, like last Valentine's I had with someone was 2 years ago, when I was seeing my ex at the time. You know, we were only seeing briefly at the time, so we weren't even together that long to do Valentine's gifts. And I was like, well, I ain't getting you a gift, you don't get me one. And that was that. So no, I didn't get no Valentine's gifts, but yeah, Warrington, man, Joe, he got a shellacking last night, man. All right, what we got here? Will the judges ever be questioned about how? No, they won't. Especially when it's really out there, like unbelievable. Yeah, man, I've learned at this stage that those judges, I don't know about in the US. I think in the US they're a little bit more harsh, but unless, do you know what's funny, right? I've seen judges who are not like British border boxing control judges get punished over here in the UK for making, crap decisions. Like, does anyone remember when Ryan Burnett fought Lee Haskins and the judge mixed up the two fighters, so that scorecard ended up being split? Does anyone remember that? That was an Italian judge, I think. He was Italian, and he's not judged since, as far as I know, or he's definitely not been in the UK. So they're happy to punish a judge when, he's not a British boxing border control judge, and say, oh, he's not refereeing or judging in the UK again. Yeah, it was a terrible. Yeah, you made mistaken two fighters. I mean, that was crazy. But if that scorecard had been returned by one of their main judges, would they have done anything? If that was like a Terry O'Connor who did it, or like, Ian John Lewis, someone like that, would they have done it? No, they wouldn't. They wouldn't have done shit. Do you remember Thompson did it? Yeah, that was funny. That was just, I remember that, man. Yeah, that was funny as hell. Oh my God, man, that was funny as hell. Broken nose. What's up, Chris? Oh yeah, man, big up to Chris every time. Big up to Chris every single time, man. Big up to Chris every single time. Kid Galahad being humble because his close fight with Warrington don't look as shady now as it did. Yeah, well, Kid Galahad, Kid Galahad seems all right, man. At least he didn't kick Warrington while he was down. You see, like, look. I'll bring this guy up, but look at Deontay Wilder, right? Look what Wilder was doing. The minute one of his fighters lost or someone like that, he would just straight away just be like, oh man, I'm this, I'm that. It's just, yeah, man, just crazy. At least with these guys, at least with, Kid Galahad, at least he didn't kick him while he was down. That's the main thing. Because it's just silly, I think. It's just silly when you see fighters doing that anyway. And this Lara, said it once, I'll say it again. He ain't bad. Not a bad fighter. He'll be in some good fights. Dan suggested Navarrete earlier in the chat. I think that fight could be a screamer of a fight, man. That'd be unreal. Didn't score round by round, but Kiko edged it. Yeah, Kiko was doing, you see, what Kiko was doing in there was so good early on in the sense that he was making Zelfa Barrett exert so much energy, and he wasn't exerting much energy himself. He was pressuring effectively. Like, as Dale says there, Barrett hasn't improved. Barrett's not doing shit. Like, Barrett hadn't improved. He was making... He was exerting more to try to keep Kiko Martinez away. He wasn't landing anything. He was trying to counter with the left hook and uppercuts when that was exactly what Kiko Martinez was expecting. He threw no right hands early on from what I saw. There was just so much that was going wrong that, you know, could have easily been just... He could have made that fight easier because he's the younger guy, he's the fresher guy. There was so much that was going from that he could have done, but no, he was... And look, Martinez was doing those, you know, veteran, you know, tactics. You know, he was cutting the ring off very well. He was pressuring effectively. He was doing a lot of good in there. He really was. He was doing an awful lot of good in there. But there are ways that you know, there are ways that he could have made that fight a hell of a lot easier for him. But hey, is what it is. British Boxing Board of Control need to clean up their act. It's getting ridiculous. It is. Like, Eddie Hearn is right where he said that basically... I think Eddie Hearn said words to the effect of, it makes it look bad on his fighters because he's trying to get these fighters to come over to the UK. Your Kiko Martinez, your Miguel Vasquez. He's trying to get them over to the UK, but they're knowing, hang on a sec, I go over here and I put in a good performance like that and I get, what, 2 rounds? Even if I deserve a draw, I'm not going to get it. I'm not going to get anything. So I can see where Eddie Hearn's coming from. And I think he even said it himself. He said Vasquez, or not Vasquez, he said Martinez may as well have just boxed on the back foot, left it be, and then just called it a day and just lost on points. That's literally what I think that's the words Eddie Hearn said he should have done. He said he would have been better off just not exerting energy, boxing defensively, staying on the back foot, and that would have been the end of that and lose on points. Literally. That's what he said would have been the best thing to do because the scorecards are absolutely fucking ridiculous. Dale says it there. These scorecards are becoming too regular. Dale, how do we look... Like, me and you say this as well, right? Me and you say matchroom commentary is like jobs for the boys, right? So we say that all the time because the Sky commentary is a load of old matchroom fighters who just big up matchroom fighters like Harley Quinn. But look at the British Boxing Board of Control, right? They give the judges to these old, you know, the referees. You know, it's a bit like a jobs for the boys club. They can sit at ringside and just make an absolutely crazy scorecard, and what? They're just told, I will review the fight, and that's it. Nothing's ever done. Nothing's ever changed. It's just bollocks. Like, it's just absolutely crazy. So how are they going to fix that? How do you, like... It's just ridiculous at this stage now. Like, you have a close fight, a razor close fight. And even when the fighters win, like, who remembers Sergio Garcia when he fought Ted Cheeseman, right? Do you remember that fight where Garcia literally beat the living crap out of Ted Cheeseman for 12 rounds? Ted Cheeseman barely won a round. And one judge, I think, had Cheeseman losing by a point. Like, what? I couldn't find like, you could barely find a round to give to Ted Cheeseman. And one judge found it. I think he gave him, like, what, 6 rounds and 1 even? Like, come on now. Like, that judge needs to be looked at and investigated. But no, absolutely nothing. Absolutely nothing done to him. It's just crazy. It's just absolutely fucking crazy, man. But what can you do, man? There's something they need to do. They need to fix it. Big up to Paddy with the $1 super chat, man. Thanks for that. Appreciate that. Be like Ty and Boot. I do appreciate your 79 pence. Yeah, thanks for that. Ty and Boot. I think I said it to Dell on Friday that ever since I started watching, like, more of his live streams, I was looking at the Echo Falls that he drinks, and I was just thinking to myself, I was like, I wonder what that's like. I was actually going to buy some because they do sell it here, and I was looking, I was like, will I buy it? And then, like, I don't really like red wine anyway. I'm not really a wine guy anyway. I probably drink white wine. And I was like, if this isn't nice, then I've spent, then I'm not going to buy a bottle of Echo and sit drinking it if it's not nice. But I haven't gone that far yet. The £1's going to put me closer to the bottle of Echoes. You know, who knows? Maybe The £1 and the £2 Dan gave me will put me close to the bottle of Echoes. And then maybe on Wednesday when I'm going live again, I'll bring the bottle of Echoes with me. I'll actually go and get it and just drink it on the live stream and see what it's like. I'll do a live taste test, you know. I'll bring the camera out and do a live taste test. We'll see. Live taste test on stream and see what it's like. Yeah, it's about the same here. This is about that in Tesco. Yeah, maybe I'll run to Tesco before I do a live on Wednesday. Do a bottle, we'll see it here. Be like, yeah, we get the Echo going. We'll see what it's like. We'll try it. Obviously, it's water, but we'll try it live on stream and see what happens. It's a rose wine drink. It's rank. Yeah, that's what Dale said. So I don't know. We'll see. Probably not. I'm not a wine guy anyway. I'd stick to just Coors Light and whiskey and ginger. That's it. Like the Sky commentary, however, this shit is getting ridiculous from the Chisora fight to last night. Look, I've had complaints about Sky for years. Years and years and years. I've been moaning about them. And for me, they've just got worse and worse and worse as the years have gone on. Like literally, as the years have gone on, they've just got worse and worse. They used to be good back in, and you know what? Like I always say, is so flipping annoying about Sky. They can actually do good jobs commentating. That's what's so flipping annoying about them. If you go and listen to Andre Ward versus Kovalev, the first fight, Sky commentated on that fight. I think Adam Smith, Matthew Macklin commentated with Paulie Malignaggi on that fight. And if you go and watch that fight, they done a great job commentating, had no issue with the commentary whatsoever. They scored it objectively and they called it objectively, right? Do you know why they did that? Because there was no matchroom fighters on the card. It was an international fight night. There was no matchroom fighters. They didn't need to be biased. And they done a good job commentating. They called it even enough. They gave a good scorecard. They had Andre Ward winning, like myself, and they were fine. And then a week later, you'll put on a matchroom show with a couple of their prospects and their house fighters. And it's like the polar opposite. They're just absolute, so pro matchroom. It's just, you couldn't even write it. So that's what annoys me about Sky. Is they can actually do decent commentary when they flip and want to. They just choose not to. They just think that us fans are just, you know, going to take it and be like, oh, it's grand. It's not fucking grand. What's this? Low mark, LOE mark, _ mark. Earthbrook bro. What we got here? Setting up a review site where 200 to 1,000 scorecards be peer reviewed is to compare the judges' scorecard all amounts to good data on possible bench judging. I'd love that. Because I always find it interesting whenever they publish different scorecards from around the world. Like, do you ever see, like, at ringside and some old, like, some of Floyd Mayweather's fights and stuff like that? You'd see, like, you know, the Ring Observer. Remember back in the 20s, that's how they used to score fights in some fights back in the 20s. They used to call them newspaper decisions. So what they do is, if you were fighting, say, like, you know, I don't know, like Gene Tunney was fighting Jack Dempsey for argument's sake. This didn't happen, but this is how they did it. You'd have like a 10-rounder. If it would go 10 rounds, they wouldn't announce the scorecard in the ring. It would go to like the press and they'd like tally up, like, you know, oh, 10 reporters scored it for Jack Dempsey, 5 reporters scored it for Gene Tunney. You get it in the newspaper. Dempsey wins, points decision. It's like, it was called a newspaper decision. That's what they used to do back in the 1920s. So they used to anyway. The commentary team were almost as biased on the Barrett fight. He was getting beat up. Yeah. They really are just, I don't know. They really are something else. The British board didn't beat the British board control the other type of shit when Jonas fought Harper. That was actually a good fight. That was actually a decent little scrap. Natasha Jonas versus Terry Harper. That was the competitive fight. It was a draw. I thought Natasha Jonas won the fight. It was competitive though. It was definitely a competitive fight though. That's one thing I will say about that fight. That was competitive. Don't get me wrong. That was competitive. Could have gone either way, that fight. But I thought Natasha Jonas. I remember watching that fight. That was the first real fight I saw after lockdown proper. You know, where I was really getting into it. Could it be worse with no crowds? Do you think the judges could be hearing the bias comment? Oh, they definitely are. They definitely are. You know, I always say the fans can influence the judges, but not always. I mean, if you look at like when 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 the fighter opens up, like if you look at some of the old German scorecards and all that, when Abraham was fighting and people were saying it was hard to get a decision, the minute he'd land on someone, the place would just erupt with cheers. And I think that did play a large part in it. But it's hard. It's hard. It's hard to say. I definitely do think it doesn't help when you can hear the commentary. I mean, like, look at Tony Bellew screaming from ringside, but we could hear that before. Like, I've heard him scream on ringside before. But yeah, definitely don't think it played. I don't think it helps, man. I definitely don't. Holy shit, man! These scorecards are all over the place. He just has 2 scorecards: 118, 111. Barrett is obscene. That fight was close, a point or two either way. Give her some credit. Oh yeah, man. No, I did. 100%. 100%, man. He definitely deserves a bit of credit for that, because look, let's look at it like this, right? Eddie Hearn knows full well that if other fighters from like Spain, places like that, know, hang on a sec, this is what's going to happen, then boom, he's not going to get these guys. He's not going to get these guys over here as opponents. Some of these can be durable. Some of these are decent opponents. He ain't going to get them. So yeah, he definitely needs to, because it doesn't benefit him. Yes, fighters won, yeah, but fighters could be looking at that thinking, hang on a minute, how the hell are we? Look, we may as well not even fight. Eddie Hearn even said it himself that Martinez may as well have just fought on the back foot and survived for 10 rounds or 12 rounds rather than this. There we go, man, lads. Unrivaled boxing in the building. Big up to Mark every time. How are you, man? It was Unrivaled. Man, big up to Unrivaled. His commentary was the commentary I was mainly listening to last night. I think I was like 2 minutes ahead of you all night last night, but still, he done a good job commentating on that fight. I was more intrigued in what Mark was saying than anything else. So I was listening to him for a majority of that fight. Big up to Unrivaled. There are only 10 active referees listed on the British Boxing Board of Control. Yeah, like I said, man, a lot of them are jobs for the boys. You get the same ones every time. You get your Terry O'Connors, your Steve Grays, Victor Loughlin's, guys like that. They are the regulars. And I'm sure that they know that, like, they know themselves. They can get away with absolutely flipping murder at this stage when they're scoring fights. So it's nothing to them at this stage, I don't think. It's literally nothing to them at this stage. And I don't think it's going to change anytime soon. To be honest with you, mate, it's just annoying. It's annoying, but look, it is what it is. It is what it is until at least they're acknowledging. Like, I think us YouTubers can help when we make videos on it. I definitely do think we can help it, but it's going to take a while. It's going to take a while. Coors Light tastes like carbonized water. Coors Light is nice. Don't diss Coors Light. Don't diss Coors Light. Man, don't diss Coors Light. Joe, big up to you, man. Each and every time, boys. Yeah, Unrivaled in the building. You got to give Mark, big up to Mark Unrivaled every time. One of the best. One of the best. Who am I picking for Kelly Avanesyan? Lads, I'm changing. I haven't done a prediction video on this, but I'm changing my mind. I'm changing my mind on that prediction. I've been saying that I think that Avanesyan's going to win, but I'm actually changing my mind. I'm going for Josh Kelly. I'm changing my mind. I don't know why. I just have that feeling that he is going to get the nod. I'm going with Josh Kelly to win this fight. I've been saying for the longest time that Avanesyan is going to just outwork Josh Kelly, bang him to the body, but I don't know. Part of me is just thinking now, hang on a sec, Josh Kelly may very well just get the nod on this. So I'm thinking Josh Kelly's going to get it. Shout out to Penny. Big up to you every time. And big up to Phil as well. Keep it up, G-man. Of course, man. Kelly on a UD, any disagreements? I see that's another worry. I see now that's one thing as well that Chris has pointed out there. If you are David Avanesyan, you're looking at that thinking, hang on a minute. Hang on a minute. If I'm going over there to fight Josh Kelly and I'm seeing guys like, Sergio Garcia he won his fight. He won his fight against Cheeseman, but there was a crazy scorecard that was delivered on that fight. So he won that fight, but he got a crazy scorecard. You've seen Vasquez robbed twice. You've seen Kiko Martinez get scorecards that are ridiculous. So if you're David Avanesyan, you're thinking to yourself, hang on a minute, how am I going to get a decision over here? And that's one reason why I'm picking Josh Kelly as well, because I just think that we know what we're getting with these guys at this stage, with these judges. And I wouldn't even be shocked if Josh Kelly's in a really nip and tuck close fight and we get like a 117, 111 scorecard, or like a 118, 111 scorecard read out. So I wouldn't even be surprised. Boxing squads in the building. Keep up the good work, G-Man, man. But you too as well, man. Lads, Boxing Squad has a great channel as well. Covers the heavyweights. Great channel. I love watching his videos. I've had a good few guys. I've had a good few YouTubers in the chat tonight. Man, it's great to see all you guys in. Alex is saying no Guinness, G-Man. No, man, I don't really drink Guinness. I would, look, if someone buys me one, I will drink it, yeah. But I don't normally, not these days. I stick to just Coors Light if I am drinking. And I haven't had a drink since, Jesus. When was the last time I had a drink? Ages ago. So it's not something that I'm really too fussed at. But I will, if someone buys me a Guinness, I'll drink it. I'll have it, no problem. Sometimes maybe even with a bit of blackcurrant, maybe, because it is nice with a bit of blackcurrant. But other than that, I really ain't I really ain't going for Guinness, man. I really ain't much going for Guinness. Not all Irish people drink Guinness. Yeah, no, not all Irish people do. Like I said, if someone bought me it, maybe put a bit of blackcurrant into it, then yeah, maybe. But I'll stick to Coors Light. Thanks for that. Thanks for that. I'm sick of other morons telling me commentary. I don't know what that means, man. It was actually embarrassing that Hearn doesn't consider the UK. Oh, stop, man. No, stop, man. Man, it's becoming ridiculous now at this stage. What did I say? G-Man used to be a raging alcoholic. Honestly, man, never. I've never been a big drinker. I think when I was like 16, 17, when I was like fucking still in school, I drink it, but I never really been big. Never really been big on it. I don't know why. I do if I'm out with my friends and stuff like that. I'm out with the lads, but nah, I'm out. No, I've never been a big drinker, so it's not something I'm really too into. Maybe, you know, when it like the lockdowns and all end and I'm seeing the lads, yeah, I will have a few like with the lads and you know, with someone, but other than that, man, nah. Commentary is either Mark Unrivaled or D. There ain't better blow by blow. Yeah, no, I love both guys on commentary. It's always great when you and D do it together. If Mark's still in the building, when Mark and D are on commentary together, it's always good. I'll gladly like pause the. I'll like gladly like pause the like fight and watch and just like wait until I know where they are, like in terms, because sometimes they're like 2 minutes behind me because I just watch it on my TV. But I'll gladly like watch them guys. Yeah, I never had an alcohol problem. Thank God for that. G-Man don't drink much. He's out of Dublin. Yeah, well, actually, I'm out of Dublin. I live out in the sticks, man. I live out in the sticks. Guinness and black, you kidding me? Stick to Dublin. No, honestly. It's a friend. Well, I say a friend of mine. We'll go into that a bit later. But she was the one who said try it with blackcurrant. Because she tries it with blackcurrant. She'd be like me. She wouldn't drink Guinness unless someone bought it for her. She'd drink the Coors Light as well. And I did try it ages ago, like during the summer with blackcurrant, and it is nice, believe it or not. It is nice. So as I said, if someone bought me a Guinness and they had blackcurrant, I'd like put some blackcurrant in it. But other than that, I wouldn't really, not anymore anyway. Yeah, Guinness is filling. Yeah, Guinness will absolutely fill you up like a mother, you know that. Avanesyan probably need a knockout. Yeah, I can't, honestly, I can't see it going any other way. I can't see it going any other way, man, to be honest with you. Think Kelly getting the UD. Kelly getting the UD, honestly. Someone asked me about that. Where is it? What's my thoughts on the Panorama documentary, or is it a bit tricky for you to? No, it's not tricky at all for me to comment on it, man. To be honest with you, I think that was just done to give boxing a bad name. Simple as. Barry McGuigan, who I don't have a lot of respect for, even before that, because I know what he's like. I wasn't surprised he went on that, because two fighters who could have made him a lot of money are with MTK. It was nothing new. In terms of the guy they're talking about, I've never met the guy. I don't live anywhere near. Well, I live outside, like Dublin, just outside Dublin, the city, and like inner Dublin. It's not. Look, it's not something I really go into. But the documentary, as far as I was concerned, it was just them. And look, BBC happy to put on MTK shows like Lee McGregor versus Cash Farouk back last year. MTK fighters were on the show last night. So you had Lee Wood, who's MTK. You had Josh Warrington, I think is managed by MTK. You had Ben Davison, MTK trainer. Well, he's his own trainer, but a lot of his fighters are MTK. And who else was there? BBC Radio 5. So, yeah. Letitia, yo, G-man, give me a shout out. Shout out to Letitia, lads. Big up to Letitia. Letitia's name is nice and easy. I can pronounce that. Some names in here have been struggling with. Did Tony Bellew say Warrington is the hardest to fight against in the world? I could be wrong, but I heard him saying it. Well, I wouldn't surprise. I haven't heard that statement, but Jesus Christ, I wouldn't at all be shocked if he did say something like that. Guinness with a shot of Tia Maria. I used Tia Maria to make White Russians at Christmas time. Although I haven't done that in about 3 years, but that's what I would use Tia Maria for. In terms of Guinness, like I said, a bit of blackcurrant, but other than that, I wouldn't put anything else in Guinness other than a bit of blackcurrant. A bit of blackcurrant is fine, but nothing else, lads. Nothing else. You're off shift? Well, I'm back in tomorrow in a job I really don't like. I don't know, actually. I don't mind the job. I don't mind the job that much, but yeah. It is. Stop. Stop. There's only like one good thing about my job. What about Diaz missing? Oh my God, yeah, that was just crazy. That was just crazy. Like, I mean, that to me, he didn't look badly drained. That to me says that he didn't make any effort to make weight. That to me says that he didn't make any effort whatsoever to make weight. That's unprofessional. Seeing the fight, they're probably going to do a rematch, but he definitely didn't. It says to me that he didn't do anything to make weight. He didn't try. Yo, G-man, Wallen B. Fury, in your opinion, real champ? It was competitive. You know, I thought Fury won the decision, but I tell you now, had that not have been Tyson Fury, had that have been, say, another top 10, like say that had been someone like Pulev, they'd have stopped that fight on that cut. They would definitely have stopped that fight on that cut. Lara reminds me of Ulises and Martinez last night. Yeah, actually, you know, not too dissimilar. And not too dissimilar in the sense that I think Martinez was the underdog against Andrew Selby, if memory serves me correct, and he knocked Selby out in 5 rounds. That was seen as an upset. As a fellow Irishman, Barry McGuigan is hated here. Yeah, he's not exactly popular. My fire group around the same time and despises him. Says a lot, as we usually get behind our fighters. Yeah, that's the problem. A lot of Irish people will just blindly follow their own fighters, irrespective of what they say or do. That happens. I know a lot of people in Ireland, I know a lot of people who like Barry McGuigan. I've never had much time for the guy at all. And knowing, even before he'd done the Panorama documentary, even before, I was like, nope, nope, no, not my type of guy. Not a stand-up guy. And look at what guys like Frampton have said about him. Like, he said that, what was it, that he wouldn't take a you-know-what on either of them. I mean, damn. Yeah, Martinez is a beast. A lot of that, like, it's mad. Like, a lot of them fighters, they come from Mexico. They're good. Like, they're learning it. They're basically having their amateur career in the pros. But those losses don't define them. Like, I think Lara hadn't lost in 5 years. So, yeah, his record was not amazing. But, you know, look at Martinez, look at Navarrete. These have losses on their record from years ago. But does that mean they're bad fight? Canelo could have had losses. You know, he had a few split decisions. He had a draw early on in his career. So Canelo could have had a couple of losses. He could have had 2 or 3 losses, maybe, God knows, on his resume. But people would still be talking about him as pound for pound #1 today. You know, a lot of these guys know how to improve, and they do improve. So that's what I have to say on that. The top Irish fighter was Dave McCauley. He fights with Phil Bassa for the WBA fly. Oh, his fights with Phil Bassa for the WBA flyweight. I think the best Irish fighter was Jimmy McLaren of all time. He fought in the 30s, beat guys like Benny Leonard. He was one of the best. He was definitely one of the best. Even though, in fact, he was the best. In fact, definitely he was the best. He was from Down. Jimmy McLaren. I might be saying the name wrong. I always get the last name a bit off, but my opinion, he's probably the best Irish fighter there is. Oh, Timmy says Martinez, great fighter. Martinez, hell of a fighter. I think, was it Mark I seen who shared on Twitter where he said that Rumvasai is willing to step aside so Ioka can fight the winner of Estrada Chocolatito. I mean, damn, that will, please, yes, please, let me see the winner of Estrada Chocolatito versus Ioka. Kazuto Ioka, man, that will be sweet. I remember when I told people Martinez would KO Selby to the body, got called a hater. I never rated Andrew Selby, to be honest. I just never heard of Martinez at the time, so I just said I'll hold reserve judgment. Martinez, yeah, that was something else. Mark knows his stuff about boxing. I remember, Mark, you telling me that you were like following Sergio Garcia's career closely before he fought Cheeseman. So when that fight was announced, you were like, oh yeah, there's money to be made on this. But yeah, Selby's coming back, lads, believe it or not. He was a bit off the rails for a while. I think during the lockdown, he was a bit off the rails. He said he's coming back now. He said confidence was his biggest issue. I mean, make it out what you will, but he said he's coming back now. But Jesus, he went life and death in his last fight against some journeyman in an 8-rounder. He was down a few times in that fight. But yeah, oh yeah, and yeah, Joe says that Martinez destroyed Edwards too. Yeah, I mean, like Charlie Edwards, even if they hadn't overturned that, I mean, gee, he was on the verge again. The writing was on the wall from way early on in that fight. From way early on. Charlie Edwards has not looked good at all since then. Charlie Edwards has not looked good at all since that. Yeah, I think there was a few weird like tweets or something from Andrew Selby where he was looking a bit all over the place during like 2020, drinking a lot. I don't know what was going on there. There was a lot of stuff going on there. I don't know what it was, but there was a lot of stuff going on there. Booze was big. Yeah, he ended up really, Jesus, borderline alcohol. I knew there was some, because he was definitely, it wasn't your case of just not someone drinking a lot. This was bizarre what was like he was posting stuff like that. So, damn. Jesus, lads. Jesus, man. Lads, what I'm going to do is just put the camera on there. I'm going to do is I'm going to call this shit. Move that forward. I'm going to call this stream here, right? So I'm going to record some videos for you guys tomorrow. Definitely going to go live Wednesday, but we're probably going to do another one during the week as well, just for the crack, just for the sake of it. Because why not? Why not? We'll do one we'll probably do 2 this week. So, lads, I'm going to call it quits here. 50 if you're still in the chat. If he's cut on the way out, if you wouldn't mind smashing the like button, help your boy out, if you could kindly. And definitely I'll get some footage recorded for you guys for tomorrow. And we'll do 1, maybe 2 this week. We'll definitely do Wednesday. Right? We definitely do Wednesday, and then maybe Tuesday evening. How's that sound? But lads, Graham, I don't know if I shouted you out yet, actually, by the way, Graham. So apologies if I haven't. Alex, Phil, Joe, everyone, Mark, Timmy, all you guys, Letitia, all you, everyone in the chat. Big up to all yous. Have a good Sunday. Have a great week to everyone. I hope yous are all good. I hope yous have a great week, and whatever shit you get into, hope you get through it. And if you don't, then, you know, have a great week. You know what I mean? What I meant by that was, I hope if anything bad happens, you get through it. And if it doesn't, happy days. Big up to Penny as well. Everyone, I'll talk to you. Peace. Before I go, actually, enjoy what's left of your Sunday. I'll enjoy it. See you all soon. Big up to Joe. It'll be good for the week ahead. I got a week ahead. We got a 4-day week in a job I really don't like, but it has some benefits. We'll find a way through it. We'll always find a way through it. That's the minor negative, but the rest of it's positive. It's a big up. Everyone, talk.